please welcome the 124th President of the National Medical Association, Dr. Yolanda Lawson.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning and welcome. On behalf of the National Medical Association, I'm honored to welcome each and every one of you to this event this morning, including our guests who are just joining us at this convention. I'm Dr. Yolanda Lawson, and as stated, I'm the 124th President of the National Medical Association, and it is great to have each and every one of you with us today. The National Medical Association is the largest and oldest association in the country representing the interest of Black physicians. And since our inception in 1895, we have advocated for medical education, supported Black physicians, and worked to eliminate healthcare disparities for Black patients and all underserved or underrepresented minorities in this country. Today, we're very glad to welcome two people who have been strong partners for us in that mission. The first has done that as an educator, as the former president of Howard University and as a practicing surgeon, Dr. Wayne Frederick. The second has received quite a few honorary doctorates, though I'll tell you, sir, that does not qualify you to perform surgery. But he is one of the world's largest benefactors of public health and of higher education. And that includes his unparalleled financial support for historically Black medical schools. He is the former mayor of our host city, Mr. Mike Bloomberg. And so on behalf of the National Medical Association, let me thank him for his leadership and all he has done to support our mission. And thank you so much for joining us today. Before we hear, I'm challenged by this. He says I can call him Mike, but my mother doesn't let me do that because I'm from the South. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Frederick.
Good morning. Certainly this is a historic day, and I'm certainly honored to be asked to participate. It's certainly my distinct pleasure to introduce one of the world's most generous philanthropists, most successful entrepreneurs, and foremost champions of public health. He's the former mayor of this great city and someone whom I'm glad to call a friend. I first got to know Mike Bloomberg when I was president of Howard University. As many of you in this room remember well, in 2020, Michael Bloomberg and his Bloomberg Philanthropies donated $100 million to the 4 historically Black medical schools. And that was a seminal gift for 2 reasons. One is that it decreased student debt for those students who received it by as much as $100,000 each. And it also brought the 4 historically Black medical school presidents and leaders together on a regular basis. It allowed us to collaborate and allowed us to think about the future of the inequalities that exist in medicine with the solutions that we thought that we could bring about. By reducing the burden of debt, Mike's gift has helped ensure that more talented students decide to go to medical school and then make it to graduation. But it also allowed them to make big choices. So we now have medical students who would not have considered neurosurgery or urology or surgical oncology like myself, who now feel emboldened to be able to do that. That freedom of choice is extremely important as we talk about diversifying our medical healthcare system. But just as importantly, our 4 historically black medical schools also provide culturally competent physicians for the nation's workforce. So we do not only educate black medical students, but we actually educate medical students from all races and ethnicities, and we give them that cultural competency that allow them to go into our communities and make sure that these disparities are eventually eradicated. Mike and I both believe that to build a stronger nation, we need a stronger higher education system, and that means a more equal and diverse one. The year after Mike graduated from Johns Hopkins, and I've told this story many times, Mr. Bloomberg, he donated $5 to Johns Hopkins. He is now easily the single largest philanthropic donor to any one higher ed institution in the US. And that commitment is significant. The fact that his commitment to public health now has resulted in Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health named in his honor is no small feat, not to mention the billions of dollars that institution has received. And I know that there are a few graduates of our historically black medical schools in here, so you can start with your $5 now. As mayor, he pushed for bold public health policies that set an example for cities everywhere. And through his foundation, he's helping more cities and countries adopt them. During the pandemic, he not only partnered with the 4 historically medical schools around that $100,000, but he also funded mobile vaccination units to each of our institutions. And I have to tell you, that access that helped save lives was absolutely phenomenal. And so we have a lot to be thankful for. During the pandemic as well, Mayor Bloomberg also convened a worldwide audience of mayors weekly to share his wisdom. And I humbly accepted his invitation to speak to that group once. And I was amazed that here was a former mayor of New York City who had done so much already, was still every single week making an impact across the world. And for that, we certainly remain grateful. I was certainly glad to invite Mike to speak at the convocation ceremony for our College of Medicine for the class of 2021. And I think it was great for him to see the impact of his work. Mike's philanthropy is a bright light among all the cynicism our country faces today, an example for other leaders to follow. And yes, while my alum is running for President of the United States, I didn't get a chance to call her before her announcement at 10 o'clock because I probably would have made a suggestion as who could be her vice president pick. Ultimately, our medical schools exist for one reason and one reason only, and that is to amplify the humanity of others. And today, while we will celebrate the largesse of a very large gift, let it not be lost in our celebrations today, that what Mr. Bloomberg has done today is to amplify the humanity of many of us in our segment of the community. And for that, we will always be grateful. So without further ado, Mr. Mike Bloomberg.
Well, thank you. Let me just say, Dr. Lawson, I may not be able to perform surgery, but I can perform weddings. Don't know whether anybody in the room needs one or two or whatever it is. Anyways, hello, everyone, and I want to thank Dr. Frederick for that nice introduction and for all your leadership and partnership. And let me thank Dr. Lawson and the National Medical Association for inviting me to be part of this convention, and everyone here for the work that you do every day to save and improve lives. It is also my pleasure to welcome the out-of-towners to the place which we New Yorkers humbly call the greatest city in the world. When people ask me what I'm most proud of from our administration's 12 years in office, seriously, my answer comes down to a single number, and that number is the number 3. That's how many years that life expectancy increased for New Yorkers during our administration, thanks to our focus on public health. By the time we left office, New Yorkers were living more than 2 years longer than the average American. I used to tell people, if you want to live longer, move to New York City. One major reason we were able to make these strides is the work that we did to reduce tobacco use. And the National Medical Association has been a critical leader on that issue for many years, and we owe you a big thanks because it really has helped save an awful lot of lives. But we still have a long and awfully long way to go, and not just on tobacco use. The fact of the matter is, American health is in a state of crisis, and so we need your leadership and your advocacy more than ever before. Life expectancy in the United States has begun to rise again after the worst decline since the 1920s, but it still hasn't rebounded to where it was before the pandemic. And we continue to lag far behind other countries. And while life expectancy is just one measure, it's a good way to see how effectively we're countering the biggest threats to public health. It also shines a bright light on the racial inequalities that persist because, as the members of this group knows very well, life expectancy for Black Americans is about 5 years less than what it is for white Americans. Think about that. 60 years after the Civil Rights Act, a person's race and family income still affect how long they are likely to live. And sadly, race and income still affect people's ability to get a great education and pursue their dreams. That's unacceptable, and I believe every sector of society, public, private, and nonprofit, has an obligation to confront it. Breaking down barriers to opportunity was at the heart of our work here in New York City, and we saw that progress really was possible. For instance, on education, our administration began closing the difference in graduation rates between Black and white students. And our commitment to break down barriers has continued to grow through our foundation, Bloomberg Philanthropies. And one way we do that is by working to increase diversity on college campuses. We formed a national coalition of colleges whose presidents are committed to that goal. The coalition is called the American Talent Initiative, and we are holding colleges accountable for progress. We've also created a program called College Point, the other side of the equation, that works with talented high school students from lower income backgrounds to ensure that more of them apply to selective schools and get the financial they need to attend and graduate. Another ways we're working to end disparities is by focusing on the racial wealth gap, an effort we launched in 2020. We call it the Greenwood Initiative, after the thriving Black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that was destroyed many years ago by racial violence, and because the legacy of racial discrimination in America continues to be seen in family bank accounts. We've also taken direct aim at a barrier that members of this organization are all too familiar with, one that threatens our ability to tackle the big problems plaguing American health. And that barrier is the soaring cost of medical school. The prospect of taking on crushing debt can deter many talented students from pursuing careers in medicine, particularly students from low-income backgrounds. And that has major consequences for Black health because, as the data clearly shows, and this group knows from experience, when Black patients are treated by Black doctors, in many cases they get more frequent care, more preventive care, and better health outcomes. So by increasing the number of Black doctors, we can help to save more Black lives and reduce inequality in American health. And that will also help to address racial wealth inequalities because debilitating health problems take an enormous economic toll on families and communities. Reducing the financial burden of medical school is one important part of the equation. In 2020, during the heart of the pandemic, at a time when Black Americans were being killed by COVID at a rate nearly 4 times that of white Americans, Bloomberg Philanthropies made a gift of $100 million split between the 4 historically Black medical schools. Those 4 schools alone graduate around half of all Black doctors in the United States, which really is an astonishing start. So there's no ways to overstate how important they are to equality in medicine. Their presidents are with us today, and I want to thank them, all of them, for their leadership. Dr. David Carlisle of Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science, Dr. Ben Vinson of Howard University, Dr. James Hildreth of Meharry Medical College, and Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice of Morehouse School of Medicine. I've had the chance to talk to and learn from some of the students of each of those schools who have now gone on to become doctors. And since we have some of their students and graduates here with us today, I would like to ask anyone who has ever graduated or attended one of those 4 medical schools to stand up and show, let's give you a round of applause. A very small number, it seems. Seriously, we can see the results of our 2020 investment in the success of individual students and graduates and in the overall data. And I'm glad to say that because the burden of debt has been reduced, more students are making it to graduation. Less debt is also giving graduates more freedom to practice where the need is greatest rather than where compensation is highest. More graduates are working in primary care and emergency care than ever before, certainly before our investment, and more are choosing to work in underserved communities, in public hospitals and in cities. And I'm also glad to say that the schools have been able to leverage our support to attract more funding from other donors. I mention these facts because we have a saying at our foundation: in God we trust, everyone else bring data. Data points us to problems and potential solutions that are getting overlooked, like the connection between Black doctors and Black health. By many important measures, the data shows that our investment in historically Black medical school has been a success, and that's thanks in large part to strong leadership at each of those schools. But we have much more to do to build a community, a country where every person, regardless of race, has equal access to quality care, and where students of all backgrounds have the chance to enter medicine. At Bloomberg Philanthropies, we want to do our part. And so today, I'm glad to announce a new gift to America's historically Black medical schools from Bloomberg Philanthropies, $600 million. Thank you. Thank you. The new funding will bolster the endowments of these 4 medical schools. We will also be making a gift to establish a new medical school at Xavier University in Louisiana. That is an HBCU with a strong track record of sending graduates into medicine. And we are glad to have the president of Xavier, Dr. Reynold Verret, here with us today. A nice round of applause for him. The funding will help ensure long-term financial stability for each of these vital institutions, which really is so important. To put it in perspective, this gift will more than double the total endowments of 3 of those 4 medical schools. You know, when I was told that it's the largest gift ever given to HBCUs, I thought of the two people who would have been most proud of it today, my mother and my father. I've told this story before, but one of my earliest memories of childhood was sitting at the kitchen table and watching my father write a check for $50 to the NAACP. We didn't have very much money, and we weren't black, so I asked my father why he was making the gift. But he said something that have stayed with me the rest of my life, all my life so far, and I will the rest as well. Because discrimination against anyone is a threat to all of us. And I've carried that lesson with me throughout my life, and this is one more way that I'm trying to honor what my parents taught to me and to pass that lesson on to my grandchildren. When the National Medical Association was founded in 1895, there were 14 black medical schools compared to only 4 today. Lack of funding and support, driven probably in no small part by prejudice and racism, forced many to close their doors. We cannot allow that to happen again, and this gift will help ensure it doesn't. Diversifying the medical field is a society-wide challenge. Philanthropy can't do it alone, but we hope this commitment will help to attract more support. Your leadership and advocacy are critical too. So let me again thank everyone here for everything that you do to build a brighter future for the patients you serve and the country we share. And thanks again for having me. All the best.
I thought it was time for more photos. Okay. Good afternoon. In God we trust. Everyone else must bring data. Thank you for that, Mike. Good afternoon. It's both an honor and a privilege to greet you on this occasion. And I would like to extend a special greeting to former Mayor Mike Bloomberg, the National Medical Association President, Dr. Yolanda Lawson, and my fellow HBMC presidents. Today, I stand before you not just as the president and CEO of Morehouse School of Medicine, but as a representative of a vital coalition. The historically black medical schools of Howard University College of Medicine, Meharry Medical College, Charles R. Drew University School of Medicine and Science, and Morehouse School of Medicine. Today, we share a profound commitment to addressing the pressing healthcare needs of our communities. We gather today to celebrate the transformative $600 million gift from Bloomberg Philanthropies. This is monumental. It's a monumental step towards advancing our mission. And I also want to highlight the Greenwood Initiative, which aims to bolster the sustainability and growth of Black institutions. This initiative is a testament to the belief that equitable access to quality education is essential for fostering diverse healthcare leadership. Additionally, we applaud the $5 million of seed funding to Xavier University for their new medical school, recognizing the urgent need for expanded access to medical education. Together, these investments represent a commitment to change, a commitment to create pathways for aspiring healthcare professionals who reflect the diverse fabric of our society. You know, when we reflect on the historical legacy we carry, I'm reminded of the Flexner Report of 1910, which sought to reshape medical education, but tragically, it resulted in the closure of 5 of 7 Black medical schools. The report championed, though, an educational model based on resources and facilities akin to those institutions like Johns Hopkins. Our schools have long struggled to create the integrated learning environment necessary for producing competent healthcare professionals, yet we've pushed on. Today, with this unprecedented generosity of Bloomberg Philanthropies, we take a giant leap forward. This $600 million investment is more than just a financial boon, it's a catalyst for change. It provides us with the opportunity to stabilize our educational program, enhance our facilities, and offer impactful scholarships and opportunities that will empower our students. We are all actually acutely aware of the projected shortage of 86,000 physicians by 2036. But if we looked at the utilization of healthcare by Black and brown people at the same rate as white persons, we know that that goes up to a shortage of 131,000 physicians. That's an alarming statistic that really highlights the urgency of our work. We need not only more physicians, but health professionals who reflect our multi-generational and multicultural communities. This endowment places us in a position to prepare a workforce that is equipped to serve these communities with empathy and understanding. Furthermore, this generous support empowers us to address the future and build generational wealth in the neighborhoods we serve. Our mission is clear: to educate the next generation of healthcare professionals who will return to their communities, delivering quality care and making a lasting impact. So we are excited today. We believe that if something is right, the entire universe conspires with you to make it happen. So I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Bloomberg Philanthropies. Garnicia, thank you. Patty, thank you. Roxanne, thank you. To the Bloomberg team, thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. None of this would have been possible without you probably sometimes whispering in Mike's ear and championing us all the way. And we also appreciate this being modeled with the Greenwood Initiative, because that is what cements the success of it for generations to come. Together, we will continue to transform lives and the communities that we serve through education and compassionate care. Thank you, Dr. Lawson, for allowing us to have a stage at the National Medical Association. We appreciate your leadership. And thank you all to our community of alums and supporters. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for guiding us. Thank you for continuing to understand that all of us have a role to play in the success of leading the creation and advancement of health equity to achieve health justice. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.